Hi everyone, it's Andrea from Movers and Bakers. Today I'm going to share with you my latest creation I'm obsessed with. Chocolate orange cookies. Beautiful chewy chocolate cookies with the flavour of orange. Oh my gosh, amazing. Let's get baking. So I'm going to do this cookie completely by hand. To start with, rather than having my butter cubed like I would normally, I have found that chocolate cookies can be drier than normal, especially when you use cocoa powder. So I find melting my butter down makes the cookie less dry and more like a cookie, more chewy. So I have my butter here and I have melted it down in my microwave, so it is good to go. So I'm just going to pop this in my bowl. Now, because it's a chocolate cookie, my sugar, normally in my cookies, I would put a mixture of caster sugar and brown sugar. But because it's a chocolate cookie, I wanted to add to the moisture of the cookie. And brown sugar actually is much better at holding on to moisture in your cookies. So that's why I've only used brown sugar in this cookie. So this is 150 grams of brown sugar. This is homemade brown sugar. I will be bringing you a video of that as well sometime soon. Now I find melted butter and sugar mixes better with a whisk, so that's why I'm going to use my whisk instead of my spatula. So just give that a really good whiz around. There we go, and that's it done. To that I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla, 1 egg, and give it another mix. There we go, all done, super quick. And now for our dry ingredients. So in there I have got my plain flour going in. Cocoa powder makes it lovely and chocolatey. To that I'm going to add my baking soda. This is 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half teaspoon of baking powder, a half teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of corn flour or cornstarch if you're in America. And we go sift it all in. Now this will make a fairly soft cookie dough to start with, but it will firm up in the fridge as I put my cookies, all of them. If you've come across my other cookie recipes, do check them out if you haven't. They are amazing. But all my cookies always go in the fridge for at least a couple of hours, if not overnight, just to help them firm up, and then it gives you lovely chewy cookies when you bake them after. So it's really, really important to make these a little bit in advance. And you can, if you're worried about being short on time or anything like that, you can make them. You can just keep them in your fridge or in your freezer in a box once you've shaped them, and they will keep absolutely fine. Then you can have cookies on demand. How amazing is that? Right, all my dry ingredients are in there, sifted in. To that, I am going to add the zest of an orange. Now I have my beautiful orange here. I'm not putting any of the juice in, I am just putting the zest in, and the flavour of the orange will come through absolutely just with the zest. Now it's really important if you're working with fresh fruit like this, it's very, very important that you zest it directly over your bowl, because not only do you want the skin and all of it to fall in, but you want any of the oils that get given off as well to fall into your mixture and not be wasted in a separate bowl or anything like that. There we go. Now we just mix it all together. Now we're a bit of a mixed family, my son and I, we love chocolate orange, absolutely love it. My husband and daughter can take it or leave it, more leave it than take it. But Dylan and I figured that if the other two don't want it, there's more for us, right? So we get to enjoy this more often. And when you've nearly finished mixing all of it in, the last ingredient that I'm going to add into these cookies is some chopped up Terry's chocolate orange. Here's a little tip that I've found. I actually find it much easier to chop up Terry's chocolate orange when it's cold. So I put this in the fridge before I chop it up, so that I get really nice chunks rather than it going more grated, which is what I find all melting on my chopping board. So I put it in the fridge for an hour or so to really firm up, and then it chops up really nicely into nice firm chunks rather than grated bits. So all of that's going to go in there. That's 100 grams of Terry's chocolate orange chopped up. I'm going to mix that through to just give it a squash in, and you can see, even though we used melted butter to start with, that our cookie dough is now very much like a cookie dough. It's not too runny or anything like that, but it's just going to help it when it bakes to hold on to that moisture better. So my cookie dough is now completely mixed and ready. So all I'm going to do, like I do with all my other cookies, is I'm going to scoop them up into the right sizes and put them on my baking sheet and pop them in the fridge for a few hours. So I have a trusty ice cream scoop that I use for all my cookies. You can use a couple of tablespoons, a couple of teaspoons. You can just use your hands, however you want to do it. I really like this because I get even sized cookies every time. So if you haven't got one and you enjoy making cookies, definitely one to invest in, an ice cream scoop. Ideally one that does the work of releasing for you as well. So I'm just going to grab even sized scoopfuls of this. Make sure I've got enough chocolate in there as well. I'm just going to pop it on my tray. And I'll fill my tray up, pop it in the fridge for a few hours, and then once a couple of hours has gone by, I will turn my oven on, preheat my oven. Now these cookies actually bake a bit lower than my normal cookies do. Normally I would bake my cookies around 170. I find these ones bake better at around 160. So I will be baking them a little bit lower for a similar amount of time, for about 7 minutes compared to my normal cookies. And I will see you on the other side with freshly baked cookies, and we'll finish them off. See you soon. Welcome back. So my cookies are out of the oven and they have cooled down sufficiently for me to decorate them. So they cooked and they rose, and then when they were cooling, whilst they were cooling, they flattened down again, which is why they have this lovely crinkle effect on them. Much harder to tell with chocolate cookies when they are done because they don't brown in the same way as paler cookies do. So just keep a really careful eye on them and make sure they don't catch on the edges, otherwise you'll have burnt crispy edges and that would be very nice. But my cookies are done, they are beautiful and ready. So what I have in here is I have some Terry's chocolate orange, and I've just melted it down in my microwave, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to drizzle it over my cookies just to get a lovely pretty drizzle chocolate effect. Just a few going all the way across. And then once you have finished drizzling your chocolate, we're going to put some orange rind on. Now obviously this last bit is completely optional. You can eat the cookies just as they are out of the oven and they will taste absolutely fine. I just like making things look pretty. So all I'm going to do with my orange and my grater is I'm just going to put a few little gratings, a few little shavings off the rind over the chocolate, and it will stick to the chocolate as it sets. So then you'll have this beautiful contrast of the orange against the chocolate cookies. And there you have it, my perfect, beautiful chocolate orange cookies. Now all you have to do, if you can wait that long, is to let the chocolate set for 5 or 10 minutes, or you can just absolutely dig in. And there you have it, my chocolate orange cookies are good to go. They are perfect for gifting or just enjoying, because you can, why not? So thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to like this video, and do let me know if you make it and how it turns out for you. And do subscribe so you will always know when I release new videos. See you next time, friends. Happy baking.